This is a podcast today that we're bringing forth because we have lots of questions from audience members, parents, friends, family members about what we really need to do to get kids on track for learning and stay on track for success.
Hi, thank you so much for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. We have this podcast to help parents and caregivers with having the resources, strategies, and tools needed to make sure that their children are on track for learning and to stay on track for success.
We are back, Falling for Learning podcast. We have esteemed colleague Lauren Moseley.
Ooh.
And there's myself, Taisha Fowler. Oh, wait, my actual name in the podcast world is TD Flenaugh. So I can't move from my alter ego, TD Flenaugh. Anyway, now there are specific questions, so we're going to address those. One of the first questions has to do with... First of all, I'm like, which question should I do first? But you know what? I'm going to let Miss Moseley choose. Which is the first question you want to address?
Hold on, let me see. Let me look at him. I think maybe the most important one is, what should parents be discussing with their child's teacher when there's like a conference, back to school night? Like, what questions or what should parents be looking for? That was okay. What should I be looking for when I talk to my child's teacher? So I think we should probably start.
That's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I know that a lot of parents are first and foremost worried about behavior. Well, let me just say that at least they used to be. I know there's a shift where there are some parents that come in ready to go against teachers or to really hold teachers accountable. So sometimes there are parents who want to know what their kids' behavior is like.
Yeah.
And that is important, of course, because obviously if they're not cooperating with the teacher and with others, then they may be stopping learning from even happening.
Mm-hmm.
But so really important when we to at least, you could go ahead and ask the behavior question, but I feel like some teachers, some parents, that's the end of the question, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, well, they're doing okay in behavior. But really, those conferences are also about, where is your child in their learning journey?
Right.
Are they on grade level? What are some things that they could work on at home?
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that they're working on at school that the teacher noticed they need a little bit more support in? What do they really thrive in? So that's another thing, making sure you know some strengths, because you want to build on what they already know.
Absolutely.
What else do you want to tell parents?
Yeah. Well, I think it was a good point. I think some parents want to focus on behavior because it's something that they can actually, some parents feel very comfortable with managing behavior. I can go home and talk to them about their behavior. But sometimes when it comes to academics, I notice a lot of my parents are like, whoa, this is new. This is not how I learned math. This is not how I learned to read. So they might not want to dig too. It's that's the teacher lane. I'm going to let you deal with the academic part of it. So I do have parents that, I will oftentimes say, hey, I think it's important to make learning very natural. And, a lot of times parents will say, well, I wasn't a great reader when I was in school, so reading is hard. Reading was a struggle. And you don't want to project that onto your child. You don't want to take your experience and say, well, it was hard. I know it was horrible. I didn't like it. So I know my child probably doesn't really like reading, or we don't read a lot at home, or you might even shy away from even, having a lot of books in your home. So I would say just make sure that your experiences are yours, parents, and try to create a different kind of dynamic with your kids. If you didn't like school, okay, that was you. What can you do differently so that your child is a little bit more successful in maybe ways that you weren't? Buying them books. just having a very print rich environment. I have the littles, we're starting off with things, just, fundamentals of phonemic awareness. And I know parents are like, phonemic awareness, what is that? It's not just enough to know the alphabet song. I have one parent come in and say, oh yeah, my child, they know all of their letters. They can sing the whole alphabet song, but they didn't know any of the sounds. And so fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, that's what you need in order to read, is you need to not just know the letters in order and know the letters, what is the name of the symbol, but you need to know what sounds those symbols make. And that is the foundation of reading. So, there's lots of resources out there. There's lots of things, free resources online, things that parents can do to just get their kids a head start. And not just knowing just the alphabet song, but what those symbols actually represent, the sounds. So that's what I try to encourage my parents to do. Print rich environment and foundational letter sounds.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think also what I was thinking about when you were saying, to set a good learning environment at home. We also need to just think about maybe talking to the teacher about what the kid likes,
right,
and what their interests are, because that will help the teacher, right?
Right.
I know that this kid maybe likes reading on bean bags, or maybe they like to be comfortable, or they really don't like sitting up and, and reading. They might give them an opportunity to, be on a carpet and read, or just different things will give teachers a hint about what to do to help support your kid. So giving them some hints about what your kid likes, what they don't like. Again, everything can't be accommodated, but it may be some ideas that the teacher could have. It could be something similar that they could do. It's not going to be home, obviously. But if you're thinking about, if you had a bad relationship with school or at school, with the school environment, maybe there are some things that you could help the teacher to understand or know about your kid that would make it more comfortable for them.
So parents should go in not only with questions, but with recommendations.
Yes. And with that in mind, know that home life and school life are very different, right?
Right.
Often, most parents, I would say, would have a single digit of kids, right? They'd have, one kid, two kids, up to 9 kids. Like, most parents aren't fitting more than that. Now, of course, there's some outliers. There's more than that in the family, but most aren't. And even when they do, they have kids of different ages, and they maybe have different needs. There's older kids, but with teachers, they're dealing with multiple kids, right? And usually in at least 2 digits, 20, maybe more, late teens if it's not 20, and like 18, 19. But also, they're all the same age. So often they all have very similar needs developmentally, and it's harder to meet everybody's needs when they may all have similar things going on. So just be aware of that. Communicating that may give the teacher some ideas about how to approach certain things, activities, challenges with the kid. But obviously, everything can't be adapted to what home life is like,
right?
Because they aren't able to give that individual attention to every child the way that you may be able to do that at home,
right? Yeah, it's like I just had a kid come in. It's mid-October, and so that's the sweet spot where kids are starting to get all the routines and procedures. We've been at this for a couple months now, and when you get that new kid that comes in October, it's like, oh no, we have a kid who's got to fit into this new culture, because that's what you're doing basically in a classroom, is you're taking all these different dynamics, all these different family dynamics, and with that are represented by each of these different students, and you're bringing them to a classroom where you're creating a new type of culture, and you have someone who's coming in fresh and new, and you literally are having to create this super quick, you're gonna have to jump on board really quickly because you can't recreate August. we're
right.
Getting into the end of October, and one of the things that I think parents, when you're having these conversations with your child's teacher, is to understand that there is a different culture at school. Like I hear parents say things like, "Well, at home, if someone hits my child, I feel like they should hit him back." Okay, not in school. That's not going to work. Right? We gotta build community. Everyone here is friends. My kid wants to invite someone to their birthday party, but they only want to invite a few friends. Okay, we'll give that invitation to them on the side. Like it's either you invite the whole class or you just invite the few and make it very, very secretive. I mean, because we literally are creating something different when you're in the classroom. Because like I said, there's like 20, 18, 17 kids, all with different personalities, all from different backgrounds, different cultures, different everything. And we really are trying to create something.
The one thing.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was just it. Just basically like we're just trying to make this so that learning is the goal and making it so that the kids help each other. That was the point I was trying to make when you have a new kid coming in. Like I need help from my kids to help this new person to come in. So the culture has to be, we are all in this together. We are all here to help each other to learn to read. You have kids at different levels. I cannot do my job well if I have not created dynamics where the kids who are a little stronger feel like, hey, it's part of my job as a student to bring my peers along, to kind of help them, to support them. Like, I think that's why my kids grow, is because that dynamic exists. And so I want my parents to always know that, like, we are here to build community in a way that might not be the same that how you build it in your family or you're at home while you're at home. We really do try to celebrate this idea of, we are a family. You have your home family and you have your classroom family. And we bring snacks. We share, parents bring snacks. We share with everybody. Like, we just try to do things that are as unifying and as collaborative and warm fuzzies as possible. Because the kids really do need each other, right?
And one thing that I also think about, like you were saying, if someone hit someone, you teach your child to hit them back. I mean, I always have to try to get parents to understand, like, if your kid is just on the street playing and someone's attacking them or hitting them, there's not adults around, that are like within shouting distance or whatever. It's like, yes, make sure your child can defend themselves. Mm-hmm. But in school, teachers are very close by. There's supervision aides or other staff that are nearby. Mm-hmm. So you could get help and support.
Right.
Of course, if there's a situation where kids are just kind of cornered by themselves, not able to, no one can hear or see what's happening like adults, then of course, you're in a situation where you really do need to defend yourself. But when it's just, adults close by and, you could talk to someone about it, mm-hmm. your child's not getting beat down and, we're expecting them to sit back quietly and like, just take the beating. So it's a kind of shift, right? Yeah, like, of course you want them to defend themselves, but in this situation, they are very close to adults that are going to be there to support them. Yeah. So that's something. Mm-hmm. So I think just really, again, another thing about parent conferences and, getting updates from your teacher on your child's progress is that you want to also see work. Like, let's see what they were doing in August when they came to us. And now we're in almost November. It will be November when this podcast comes out. Let's see, what they're doing now,
Yeah.
and that gives you an indication. You should be able to see some changes. Maybe the writing is neater. Maybe there's more writing. Maybe the math is different and more challenging, and they're able to handle it. So those are some things that give you ideas about how your child is progressing, seeing some of the work and how they're doing better. And even if they are below grade level, maybe they were able to do one problem and now they're able to do 3 problems in a sitting, or whatever it is. You're looking for some type of continuum as far as them doing more on their own than they were doing before.
Absolutely. One thing I started doing is getting work samples from other students as well. I always make it, anonymous, either blotting out their name or making a photocopy and just taking the name off, and letting parents also see the different levels that are in the class, so that they can kind of get an idea of, this is what a 6-year-old is capable of. This might be where your child is falling short, but this is doable. Here's a child this is an example of someone who's doing work that is, on grade level, and maybe this is something and the expectation can be set by the parent, like, hey, you can do this, you can do better. It is possible, just the idea that sometimes parents have no idea what it is that their kid should or shouldn't be able to do by grade,
That's a very good point. I have definitely had parents to say, well, no, my child knows how to read. And it's kind of like defensive, which is fine. But it also let me know, oh, they don't really know what they're supposed to be doing. Because yes, your child may know how to read like more simple words. We call them CVC, or like, just 1-syllable words, 3 letters. Even maybe they have some long vowel sounds, a magic E in there, silent E or something. But as they get older, even by the end of, I want to say the end of 1st grade, that those like magic E words, and then like the 3-letter words, that is, they need to know more than that, right?
Yeah, I always tell parents they need to, the difference between, like, I always tell my kids, if you can read tricky word I, you can read, but are you a fluent reader?
Right.
Do you read in a way that sounds like a robot, or can you read in a way that sounds like you're speaking? Could you read in a way that would be engaging for someone to listen to? Do you understand what you just read when you finish reading? So there's different levels to it. So the goal is not just to say, oh yeah, my child can read,
Bat,
cat, right. And sometimes what I used to do, I had a Class Dojo account. We use this app called Talking Points, but it allows you to share, updates and information, and you can send photos and video to individual parents. You can send it to the whole group. But I used to have samples of my students reading in class, just to highlight different kids that are reading. And I always got comments like, wow, that I did not know that a 1st grader would be able to read, so well, because I had some really great readers. And this was way before the end of the school year. I had kids who were very fluent. And it did inspire some of the other students to go home and practice. I had kids who had a fluency practice, and if they read it, fluency practice for homework, and if they read it and posted their homework assignment, they would get extra credit. So just to see kids making that effort to show off their reading skills, because now they understand, like, hey, yeah, I want to not just be a reader. I want to be and they even use the word, fluent. I don't have to decode everything.
Yes.
I don't have to sound out everything. I know a lot of the words automatically, so I can be more fluent. I mean, they're using that kind of language.
That's
So
great.
yeah, I think that would be great for parents to, yeah, just to be able to see, what first graders are capable of, and how automatic it can be at such a young age.
The Rewrite Method and the Rewrite Method Workbook are your go-to resource for helping kids to learn to fall in love with writing. It has the tips, tools, resources, strategies, and skill-building activities to help kids fall out of writing hate and into loving to write. Get your book set today.
Another parent question about, kids who are in fourth grade, so we're even older now, that really just like to read comic books and they're not into chapter books. And this is a great question. I'm so glad that I had an audience member asking me about this, people from our community, because I feel like this is a recurring theme that I hear a lot of parents, a lot of concerned, involved parents sometimes do things such as this to really turn their kids off from reading, right? And I know they mean well. You don't want your child stuck in, really simplistic books. But really, this is why we're talking about having those conversations with the teacher. The teacher will let you know that your kids are on grade level, they're below grade level, they're above grade level, they're near grade level. There's different, areas, right? Maybe math, maybe reading, whatever. But they are going to be challenged with reading grade level text at school.
Right.
And there are choices at school, but a lot of it's not choice, right? They have to read this text about this topic. They have to read this story about this character. And so when you're at home with them, and that's where we have some great distinctions between school and home, giving them an opportunity to read what they want, reading for pleasure, right? Not reading because that's what you need to do, which it is important, right? It is important. But remember, kids are kids. And leading with the importance and the seriousness of reading is a turnoff for kids, right? It is so important that you read. This is important that you read and you get the reading in. Go over there and read, It just sounds like they're in trouble and they're, doing something out of obligation. But if they're telling you, I'm interested in comics, I'm interested in these things, and they want to read it, let them read it.
Right.
The teacher is going to have them reading things that they have to read that is not about their choice. Yeah. So they're with you at home, give them a choice about what to read.
I agree.
What else can you add to that for the parents?
I do agree. I feel like you definitely don't want you don't want reading to be a punishment ever. So never say, you're in trouble, you're grounded, go in your room, and all you can do is read a book.
Yes, so that's all you can do.
Right. Horrible task of reading. No, I think graphic novel, and some of the graphic novels are actually quite good. Like, there's plot and there's, character development, and there's a lot going on in some of those graphic novels.
Yes, that's an update about the, because maybe they're thinking about comic books and maybe they weren't that challenging. Right. I am not an expert on the comic books of the past, but I know that there are new graphic novels or even graphic versions of novels, right, that are out that are challenging and that do have sophisticated vocabulary and all of that. So that's like an update, right? It's not new. It's probably like 20 years, 15 years. I don't know how long they've been doing graphic novels, but they are a new alternative. They can be as thick as chapter books and as challenging as chapter books even as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So there is a time and place for helping kids who are maybe developing readers to gain those skills to be on grade level. But it just needs to be a balance. Like, we all need a little junk food every now and then. It's fine. Right.
Balance is the key. Yes.
Balance is the key.
So yes, if you, and going back to like talking to the teacher, is my child on grade level? Is my child below grade level? And really, if you're finding they're below grade level and they should be, you want to challenge them with more difficult types of text. Give them still give them the free choice time that they're reading whatever they want. But then have some times where you're really introducing them to books that you love and that are interesting to you, that are chapter books.
Yeah.
And really designating that time, like me and mommy are going to read, me and daddy are going to read, me and auntie, whoever it is, we're going to read this book. And I really strongly encourage, and I've done an episode on this before, a short video on it before, about how I really enticed my daughter to fall in love with reading. And she was 3rd grade going into 4th grade. And I just really felt like it was important to really get her into loving to read. And so we went to the library and I got the same book. I had the same book as she did. And we went to a coffee shop, sat down and had some fun time where I read and the funny voice she read. We did the partner reading. She read a little bit, I read a little bit. And then we did this every day. And before long, she was reading ahead of me. Like, I already read that and she was reading by herself. And I mean, that was it. Really, she already could read, but I just didn't feel like she was really into reading. And I just really made sure, okay, I'm going to find a book that's high interest. I think it was a Harry Potter book, probably the first Harry Potter book. And she just took off. She read all of that series. She read it a couple of times. And every time a new movie was coming out, she reread. So she just from there just took off. And, for the rest of her, this happened before she got into 4th grade. And so from that time, I would sometimes pick her up and she's like, Mom, I'm reading a book right now, because we had sometimes we had a long commute. Right. So I was sometimes interrupting her reading time. And this was, so.
Wow.
So, but it's be intentional. Instead of saying, you really got to read, you got to read. It's important that you like reading. I just okay, what could be fun? We could go get some nice little drinks, hot chocolate or something we got. And we just sat down and had our reading time. We both had the same books. It was an engaging book. I made sure I was making funny voices. I made sure it was fun.
Yeah.
It was okay if she didn't know the word. You don't know that word? Some of us, we got to be careful.
Yeah. You
don't know that? You should know that word. You're at 4th grade. You should know that word. Just help them with the word.
Right. Right.
And it's information for you. They need help with breaking down longer words or whatever it is. Should be information, not a time to be that's ridiculous. You should know that word. And sometimes we shame our kids.
Right.
But lead with the fun and the practice, right?
Yes.
The habit.
Yes.
Let's do this together. This is what we do together. We read these books together and we're going to have fun doing it.
Yeah.
But you're doing it because it's important and you don't want your child to be behind. But focusing on that for the child is not it.
It's not it. Right. Yeah. That is such a good point. I always tell my kids, this is my first year being departmentalized and only teaching language arts and social studies. And I always used to think all subjects were important, and they are, but I've gotten to the place where I really, with all my heart, believe that literacy is the most important thing you will ever learn, because literacy is everything. It's in every subject. Your ability to think critically, your ability to what is it, the saying, if you want to, I can't even think, write it.
Hide it.
If you want to hide something, just write it down, because no one's going to read it. Right. So just this idea that, we are a nation that has, to be a first world country, our literacy rate is not great. I think they said America was considered functionally illiterate. Like we have just a lot of people who read on such a basic level. We're just functioning illiteracies. You know, it's just that I don't know exactly how that term applies to the large. Like what does that exactly mean? But it doesn't sound good. I think people just need to be literate. Period.
Yeah, and really what I find is a big missing link is home, right?
Yeah.
That it's not prioritized at home
Yeah.
in a way that's fun, engaging, and habitual.
Yeah.
Right? Like, not that we're reading once a week or sometimes we read, but that we have a habit of reading in our home before bed, before dinner, after dinner, in the morning, whatever time that is. Like, be intentional about finding a time and making a part of this family life. And again, I also have like other videos where I talk about how to just integrate it into your life. Like, maybe you're a very busy family, but okay, let's find a recipe and let's read the recipe and we're cooking. So we're reading the recipe and we're cooking, we're measuring it out and getting the child and just handing over responsibility little by little. So they are reading the whole recipe. But of course, they might just start with the little part, a couple of words. Oh, you know, you know, and it's like, oh, but what about this word? And, you know, if you're making tacos or whatever, tacos might be in that recipe 5 times, or beef or ground beef or whatever. So they're picking up vocabulary as part of what they're doing.
Yes.
So maybe you don't have time. You're busy cooking, but how can you get your kids involved with reading recipes? I got to take them to the grocery store. So you're looking around and helping them read the grocery store. Like, how can you incorporate it into your life in a way that's going to work for you?
Yes.
Because you're using reading all the time, or avoiding reading all the time, whatever, you know what I mean? It is, the words are everywhere, you know? And that takes us to, I think, the next thing, which is, we've talked a lot today about like difference between home life and school life. And I had an audience member call in. They emailed me anyway. And they're saying how they're so upset because their child, the teacher, right? It's like a second grader, and they don't know how to tie their shoes yet. But what was really upsetting for this parent is that the child was upset because they said, my teacher wouldn't tie my shoes. And I just thought,
nope, we don't.
And so we're going to express this because this is a key difference between home and school life, right? Teachers, of course, are supposed to be teaching reading, math, manners, classroom procedures, you name it. There's a lot of things.
A lot of stuff.
And then while we're doing those things, and we're managing behaviors, of course, like someone may hit your kid. We have to deal with that, right? And then
you don't want me down tying shoes while I need to be up.
And someone comes in the mix, one of the kids like, I need my shoes tied. And at the time, you know, someone could be over here crying because they got hit. Someone could be, you know, I could be helping someone with, you know, a word or writing or math. And just tying shoes is so low on that list. And then we also have to think it's not just your kid that may need their shoes tied. Especially if you see me tying Kim's shoes, then why can't I come up and get my shoes tied, right? And so instead of one child needing their shoes tied, because remember, unlike home, we've got 20 kids of the same age and sometimes more of the same age that all have similar needs. When often with families, you have a 10-year-old, you have an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, you know, so there's different levels and not everyone is the baby, right?
Right.
But everybody at the school, in this classroom, has similar needs. If parents didn't teach kids how to tie shoes, and now we are tying 20 shoes, you know, I'm not sure where the reading and writing and math and procedures and behavior, all of that comes in.
Yeah.
So it is important. What I tell them to do, I tell them to push their shoestrings into their shoes.
Yeah.
So
they
that they're
just
not
don't trip on them, right?
So they won't trip on them. So
Yeah.
that's what I have them do.
Yeah.
And so it's just interesting, like, you know, the audience member was like, what kind of teacher is this? And should I just tell the principal, you know?
Oh my gosh.
And it's like, well, no, the teacher doesn't really have time to tie kids' shoes. And then again, like we said, being equitable or being fair, you know, let's say not everyone needs the shoes tied, but 7 of them need their shoes tied throughout the day. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And it's always obviously at the inconvenient time where I'm in the middle of showing this new math concept. I need my shoe tied.
Right.
And are we stopping to, you know? So it's important that parents are teaching kids things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is what this podcast is all about.
Right.
And of course, I have parents who also just do Velcro shoes or something.
Oh, Velcro, please. That whoever invented Velcro tennis shoes was a genius. Those are the best things you can do for your littles. Put Velcro on.
I mean, I am going to push back on that a little bit to say it is important to take time to teach your kids certain things, and tying shoes is one of them. So tying shoes takes some time.
No, okay, yes.
Tying shoes takes time.
Right.
And kids will be proud of themselves when they learn how to do this, but it does take some dedicated time. Of course, it takes, let's say it takes a minute for me to tie shoes. If I'm, you know, just tying it for a kid real quick. Now it may take 5 times as long, because it may take 5 minutes to sit there and help your child with the loops and the crossing and the explanation of it. There are YouTube videos that also teach how to tie shoes, just FYI.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we could go ahead and link that in. So take a look at the show notes. Some videos that teach about tying shoes. But it does take time to teach it. Obviously, it's quicker to tie the shoes. But for us, there's so much going on. It's like push them into your shoestrings. Yeah. I'm an intervention teacher, which means I have 30 minutes with kids. And a lot of them are struggling. I mean, they're all struggling to read. Sorry, not a lot of them. All of them are struggling to read. That's the criteria for me working with them. Yeah. And that means often they might be in 3rd grade not knowing how to tie their shoes. Mm-hmm. But that just takes 5 minutes a day, helping that kid tie their shoes at home. Right. But I don't have that same 5 minutes when I see students for a 30-minute segment of time. And again, with all the students who are struggling, taking 2-3 minutes to tie shoes, 3 kids, 4 kid shoes, it's not practical. So
I think
don't tell on the teacher.
Yeah, don't tell on the teacher.
Just please.
You know what else is a new thing that we're doing now that I've been asked to do is check for lice and nits. Yeah.
Okay. Job number 4025 of a teacher. Now we're checking for lice and nits. Well, the school nurse used to do that when I was a kid.
Well, yes. And the thing is and I do send them to the nurse, and it's not, me checking them, but it's like, hey, my kid is itching and da 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 da. So we send them to the nurse, and then it becomes like everybody's itching and everybody's like, wants you to check now. Everyone's like, my head is itching, teacher. Mine too.
Yes.
It's just a contagion of things with the littles.
Yeah, it is.
And so you even with like little tiny cuts, you can't even, it's like, is that my finger is bleeding. No, I don't see any blood, but I'm sure that's probably a hangnail. You're fine. But just the contagion things. And those
Yeah, and I
things
say,
are
you know
really-
what? Let me know if it gets. We'll check at the end, like because I have the little 30-minute segments.
Right.
We'll check at the end, and I can send you to the nurse if it gets worse.
Right.
I also offer, and my grandma offered me this too, which actually works. My stomach hurts. Rub your tummy if you don't feel better later. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
well, it gets things moving.
Yeah.
You rub your tummy, things get moving. If and a lot of time, and sometimes that's what the issue is.
Mhm.
So I give them like little like suggestions, like, oh, you want to put cold water on your finger? Go ahead and go to the
Some
sink.
water. Yeah.
And those are my remedies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I saw
We
this
have
one
to, like,
teacher
gotta
had
be quick on our feet.
she literally had a bottle of water. It was just literally a bottle of water. And she would unscrew the water and put it a little cotton ball, and she would rub it with some water and send them back to their seat. And they'd be like, oh, thank you. It was literally water and a cotton ball.
Did I tell you the story about the calm down water before?
No.
No. So I have a cousin, and her son, when he was a little kid, he would do like some like spiteful crying. He'd be like, ah, and it's like, ah, kind of crying. But anyway, she would be like, she's annoyed with it, but she was like, you know what? Come over here and get some of this calm down water. And she's like, come get the calm down water. And he took it. And he's like, ah, she's like, come get some calm down. He's like, and he goes to play. And we were like, me, my mom, my sister, we were like,
wow, the calm down water.
Amazing. And she was like, I don't know. I just try whatever I can. Whatever I can.
Yes. I like that.
But it was the best invention ever.
Yes.
And I love that invention with I'm going to get the bottle of water because I think so. Because they're like, yes, they do want to show you the microscopic cut from 5 weeks ago.
I know, right? But you know what? Like, what we've been having too, no joke, we've been having hand, foot, and mouth disease at my school in abundance.
Yes, I've heard of that.
So when kids are like, I have this thing on my finger, sometimes I have to really look and go, wait, come here, let me see.
Yes, it's very true. I do send kids to the nurse, right? I do say, like, check back in with me.
Yes.
I don't just deny for nurse, but I do give them a quick little remedy. Mm-hmm. And then and I'm like, let me know if you're feeling better, and of course, if it is something, they'll say, yeah, I'm still feeling upset. My stomach still hurt. Okay, let's send you to the nurse.
Yeah.
But I don't just deny, but I try to keep it moving at the same time.
I usually say, oh, well, maybe you can rest during recess. And they're like, I think I'll
I love that. I love that.
Go lay down. See. Oh, during recess?
Let's reconsider. If they're really sick, they're like, yeah, I'm going to go to sleep. Yeah, they're tired.
Right. But now if they do say, yes, can I please go lay down? I'm like, okay, this probably needs to go visit. Our nurse, can I say my nurse's name? I think it's fine.
Protect the innocent.
Okay. She just has a cool name. I just love her name for a nurse, but I won't say anything. But yeah, I'll tell you later. She may not want her name out there.
But we will know.
La La Land.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't want people to know.
Right.
So we love that you have called in and had questions for us. I don't know why I keep saying call in. I think this is like
maybe one day we'll have a hotline and people can call in. Next caller, where are you from?
Phone. I will put you on speakerphone. I don't really have the infrastructure for it, but yeah, I'm about that. Like, let's do it. I'll put my phone out. I'll be like,
oh wait, I have to
put it on speakerphone.
Speaking of phone, have you heard of the Tattle phone? There's a phone you can get on Amazon. Well, I think it's advertised on Amazon as a phone where if you were at a wedding and you wanted to leave a message for the bride and groom, you'd pick up this phone and you record a message like, "Oh, congratulations, we're so happy for you, blah blah blah." This one teacher has turned it into her tattle phone. So literally, when the kids want to go tell on somebody, they pick up the phone, and it is hilarious. So and so showed me their pencil, and it was broken, and they put it right in my face. Click, like just weird stuff. So-and-so said 6'7". Click. I mean, they literally are.
Yes, a lot of the things. Yes,
It's
for
hilarious.
us,
I
like,
want one so bad. Somebody buy me a telephone. They're like $80. Maybe, maybe I'll have a parent who'll donate it. But I've got to have one of these things just for no other reason other than just to be able to play back and listen to the funny things that kids. It's hilarious. The things that they tattle on each other.
Yes.
I want this.
I'm like, well, if he didn't hurt you, if you're not hurt, because sometimes they want to say like, he didn't put his, if I'm like, everyone put their pencil down. He doesn't have his pencil down. Like, but if he didn't hurt you, then let's
Right.
focus on you.
Or my little boy who goes,
and I'm going to focus on everyone.
Right. My little boy goes, so-and-so call me a boy. Are you a boy? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I don't know what to say about this. So
it's kind of like when they call us teacher. Do they call you teacher or miss?
I asked them to call me Miss Moseley. So, and sometimes they do. They'll say teacher. I'm like, Miss Moseley, because I don't go student.
That's what I say. I don't say girl, or boy. I say, your name.
Call each other by our names.
Like,
it's fine.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
But it's a respect. I think sometimes it's out of a respect, because in some places,
yeah.
And the maestra, your teacher, is like a big deal. So I get it.
Yes. Or senora, they just say instead of and so it's like miss.
Yeah.
But it's like, just teaching to know our specific
just don't call me
names
Lauren
and to use it.
That's not okay.
Exactly. Well, again, thank you for your questions. Please call in, reach out to us. Any other questions you have, we're glad to answer them and give the perspective from the teacher's point of view, because sometimes you don't know what that point of view is or what that, how it looks like in the classroom. And that's important communication to have between, teachers and parents, and just making sure that our students are getting all that they need.
Yeah.
Again, do something today that's going to give your kid the competitive advantage, and have an amazing week. Thanks again for supporting the Falling for Learning podcast. New episodes go live every Saturday at 5 p.m. You can watch us on youtube.com at Falling for Learning, or listen on all major podcast platforms such as Apple, Google, Audible, Spotify, and much more. For more resources, visit fallinginlovewithlearning.com. We really appreciate you. Have a wonderful week.